Ladies and gentlemen, so last week on the channel we did an updated tips and gameplay video for Dr. Voodoo, and today I wanted to continue that series, man, because that video was super popular, went down really well, and a lot of you have been sending in me requests for characters to kind of cover and just dump all the knowledge I can. You know, I don't claim to know absolutely everything, but I do feel like I have a fairly good handle on a lot of the god tier characters in this game, and Archangel is a character that I've been playing for like a year and a bit now. He's been amazing for a lot of Act 5 progression. There are so many paths which Archangel can clear up so incredibly efficiently there. And also, since the introduction of Uncollected monthly event quest, there have been several really difficult fights, many final boss fights where Archangel has kind of easily come in at the top 3 options, arguably the best for some of these fights. We've had characters like MODOK, Void, Killmonger, Sabretooth, and Uncollected Thanos, and Archangel, when played correctly, just tore through those bosses so incredibly efficiently. So he is one of the best characters in the game, but Archangel kind of has, three different rules, and one of them can kind of be played around a bit, but the two most important ones are if the opponent can be bled and the opponent can be poisoned, Archangel is most likely the best option for that fight, or in the top 3 best options. But if they can be bled, poisoned, and also stunned, then he's probably the best option for that fight. But again, you know, MCOC, very complicated game, depends what else is in the mix. If power gain is in the mix as well, might not necessarily be the best, but that's generally the rule to keep in mind. If you can bleed, if you can poison, and you can stun, Archangel will just absolutely destroy the opponent. Like, his damage is just absolutely insane when played correctly. But yeah, that's one of the things. Archangel is a little bit of a complicated champion initially to digest and understand. So yeah, we're going to try our best to explain exactly how the character functions. So we're going to get back to the awakened ability once we've explained kind of the core mechanics of Archangel. So neurotoxin is his it's kind of big passive, which makes the champion super desirable. So each time Archangel triggers a bleed effect on an opponent with an active poison effect that he caused, they are combined, converting into a neurotoxin. So you need to trigger a bleed on an opponent that has a poison. So neurotoxins are a passive effect and therefore do not count as either a debuff or a poison. Neurotoxins deal, it's roughly about, I think it's 270% of Archangel's base attack over their duration, and they can stack and stack and stack, and on expiry neurotoxins have 100% chance to stun the opponent for 1.5 seconds, but this effect will not interrupt the special attack, so that's important to keep in mind as well. So the added benefit of neurotoxins when the character is awakened, which makes Archangel so powerful when awakened, is 2 things. They reduce ability accuracy reduction based on his signature level. Now, ideally, whenever you have an Archangel, you want to aim to get him over signature level. I believe it's like 50-something. Basically, have the ability accuracy reduction over 33.34%, which means that once you have 3 stacks of neurotoxin, it's guaranteed 100% ability accuracy reduction, and nothing is going to trigger on your opponent. And also the secondary effect of the awakened ability is just even 1 stack of neurotoxin will block all regeneration on the opponent, which makes him just insane for dealing stuff like, you know, with Sabretooth when we had him uncollected, also Realm of Legends Wolverine, and potentially if you have a 5-star Archangel rank 4 like Labyrinth of Legends X23 as well. So yeah, really good for those high regeneration opponents that can be bled and poisoned there. So yeah, that's basically how neurotoxin works. So you need to get a bleed on an opponent that has a poison, but that's a bit of an interesting process. Now, the first thing you need to know is how to initially get bleeds on the opponent, because you can only start triggering your poison mechanic once you start bleeding the opponent. Now, every single critical hit that you fire off has a 40% chance to inflict bleed, which lasts for 15 seconds, so it's quite a long bleed, and is, you know, relatively powerful. Obviously, the duration is enhanced by deep wounds, so critical hits have a 40% chance to bleed, but the heavy attack is the biggest source of Archangel's bleed, because every hit has a 50% chance to inflict bleed, and also, you also get the added benefit of having critical hits on the heavy attack as well, so you get a lot of stacks potentially firing off the heavy attack. So yeah, you have a 50% chance with every hit to apply bleed from just it being a heavy attack, and then also every crit will have a 40% chance as well. Now, the heavy attack has a secondary effect of, you know, if you have a poison on the opponent, only the first bleed effect triggered by this attack will consume a poison effect, though all bleeds triggered by it will convert to neurotoxins as long as the poison was consumed during the attack. So that essentially means if you fire off a heavy attack and you get, you know, like 4 bleeds, but there's only 1 poison in the opponent, you will get 4 stacks of neurotoxin because you only need 1 stack of poison to convert all the bleeds triggered by that heavy attack, if that makes sense. But how do you trigger the poison? That is a very, very important question. Now, there are 2 different ways, and the first thing to keep in mind is that each bleed debuff on your opponent increases the chance of any poison triggering by a flat 25% and reduces that chance, the chance that an opponent's tenacity abilities will trigger by the same. So, you know, it's kind of a little bit helpful when fighting Agent Venom and Kingpin, but let's just focus on that poison trigger. So yeah, for every bleed debuff, you have a 25% chance flat increase on your block and also special attacks to trigger a poison effect. So you can see the numbers here on the block and the special attacks. They start off with the block and the special one at 0. So, you know, once you've got 2 bleeds on the opponent, it's a 50% chance to trigger. 3 bleeds, it's a 75% chance. 4 bleeds, it is a 100% chance. So yeah, on blocking, you know, a percentage chance based on the amount of bleeds you have to poison, reducing their health recovery by 30% and dealing you know, the same amount of direct damage over 15 seconds as a poison. Special attack 1 has a 20% chance to inflict bleed, and also a 0% chance, again, depending on the amount of stacks of bleed you have. So once you have 4, this is going to be a 100% chance. But I think a way of looking at the special attacks, just to make it a little bit easier and more digestible, is the special 1 is mainly to get a poison if you have a lot of stacks of bleed, and the special attack 2 is mainly just to get a lot of stacks of bleed quite quickly. Because the special attack 2 has a 50% chance on all its hits to inflict bleed, but a minus 40% chance to poison, so the chance of getting poison off the special 2 is quite low, and the special 3 is kind of an ultimate of both. It will give you 1 bleed, 1 poison, and also the stun, which can be very, very valuable at the right interval, because you can go in, you can potentially get off like 2 or 3 heavy attacks in that 5-second stun duration. So yeah, that's super, super valuable. So yeah, to kind of explain this like very, very clearly in terms of the rotation, hopefully, your goal with Archangel is really just to spam heavy attacks, because the poison can also trigger off the parry as well, but you want to maximize the amount of bleeds you've got on the opponent so that you can get poison, so that you can convert the bleed on top of a poison into a neurotoxin, get the big damage, get the ability accuracy reduction, and you are good to go. Again, quite a complicated champion, just to, you know, fully digest in terms of his abilities when you're reading him, but when playing the character, which we're going to do now, hopefully it's going to make a lot more sense exactly how this champion is working. So we're going to go to Uncollected and deal with the rage path here, because obviously one of the benefits of Archangel, the big amount of his damage comes from damage over time, so it's not direct damage, so it makes him very, very good for any scenario where there is maybe like a damage cap, safeguard, or you just need to bypass something like rage here. So yeah, we're going to try and attempt to do the rage path, the Green Goblin, the Nightcrawler with Archangel, and hopefully show off some pretty dank gameplay here. So yeah, let's see what we can do, ladies and gentlemen. But Archangel is a bit of a tricky one, because it's all about, you know, timing those parries right and spamming those heavy attacks. So yeah, you see the first heavy attack there, we got 2 stacks of bleed. So on this, we should have a 75% chance to get poison whenever he's hitting into the block there. And let's go ahead and convert this. So we got 2 stacks of neurotoxin there. So you need to remember that you need to, yeah, basically get bleed on an opponent that has poison. Just spam heavy attacks, and that's pretty much it, man. Right, let's go for this. Get some more stacks of bleed up. And there we go. Let's just fire that off, and that should deal with Venom quite nicely. So yeah, Archangel, he's one of those champions. He takes a little bit of practice to play, a lot of getting used to, because he's very, very alternative in comparison to other characters. And if you become like a super, super good Archangel player, you're also going to be looking for additional intervals in the fights, like, you know, with certain characters' heavy attack animations, where you can potentially get off the heavy attacks during unstunnable matchups, because again, the entire secret to this character is just spam heavy attacks and win the video game, pretty much. So yeah, it does take a little bit of practice, and you do need to be quite good at parrying to kind of get a really good handle on this character. But he's very, very good fun once you get him up there. And that heavy attack, I can see with this green goblin, because his health pool is a little bit lower. We are triggering rage on those crits there. Come on, let's get some good neurotoxin off here. So hopefully we can reduce the chance of that. Right, there we go. We got maybe one more, and then we can... Okay, now he has a 100% chance not to get rage, because we have enough neurotoxin to fully mitigate his, his node there. So that's really, really awesome, but we took quite a bit of block damage there. However, did slice through that green goblin on the rage path in 27 hits, which, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty damn good there, pretty damn good. But also, one of the potential downsides of playing Archangel, just if he's a character that you'll bring to the majority of matchups, is, you know, the block damage and parry damage if you are missing parries. And the higher, in terms of difficulty your opponent is, the more damage you might take there. And again, you don't need to, like, fully rely on these parries and blocks all the time. You know, if you want a little bit less damage, you can just go in for a standard rotation. But there we go, let's get one more stack of neurotoxin. Oh, unfortunately not there. Sometimes there is RNG involved in playing Archangel for sure. Like a massive amount in some fights. Right, can we get another heavy attack? Oh, not too bad at all. So you can see, man, this character just cuts down opponents so incredibly well. And one of some of the matchups that he's really, really noted for are evade matchups in particular, and hopefully we can demonstrate that quite well against the Nightcrawler, providing we get some fairly okay luck with the bleeds. We don't need anything like too special, but you know, you will have some matchups on Archangel where your bleeds, they just aren't proccing despite firing off the heavy attacks. But yeah, as also Archangel's you know, bleed comes from his crit as well. Like, a crit team can be very, very useful if you build like the full X-Men for increasing his crit a little bit more. And also, if you're a fairly new player and you get Archangel, obviously having the masteries that increase your critical hit chance are only gonna up this character's damage output even further. Right, we're not getting very lucky with the poisons here, boys. And there we go. Let's go for another heavy attack. Okay, so we got 3 stacks of neurotoxin now, which means he won't get any rage, and also, what's the additional effect? He cannot evade, so that's absolutely perfect as well. But yeah, just deal with a Nightcrawler easily like that, ladies and gentlemen. Cleans him up so incredibly quickly. So yeah, it's just amazing to see all these matchups drop in like, yeah, 20, 26, 27 hits. And I think we'll continue here, because I ideally want to get to the last Venompool, because Archangel is actually a really good matchup for that Venompool, potentially. Let's go with a little bit of Gwenpool here. I feel like this is going to be a bad matchup on the Rage path, but if we can maybe get, like, him to his special 1 without procking that rage, we might be okay to just keep going and going. Let's see, he is hitting very, very hard now. Damn it, mate, that was so much damage in my block there. Okay, we didn't get any crits there, which was actually pretty perfect. Did he just... Oh, I'm not really too sure what happened there. Right, let's go again. Try and just stay perfect on those intercepts there. Come on, man. This is also another interesting way potentially around the rage path. Just intercept perfectly. Right, let's go. Come on, one more. There we go, boys. Right, Red Hulk is down, and we can continue our Archangel rampage. What do we have next? We have Carnage, right? I don't think Carnage has anything too special on him, so let's go for that. But we have taken, man, quite a little bit of block damage here. So let's go on to the next matchup. But as I said, like, Archangel has had numerous fights over the course of the Uncollected event quest being introduced, where he has just hands down proven himself the quickest and most efficient option, especially for Sabretooth, man. He was so good for that. Like, Dr. Voodoo and Void were also really, really good for that fight, but Archangel, one of the things about this character is he can just be so rapid about getting that heal block off, whereas characters like Void and Voodoo, they can sometimes take a little while to get up there. Right, let's go for another special 2. Oi oi. Get that parry. Convert it. Another heavy attack. Can also throw in, what is it, 1 medium hit if you're quite close to the opponent just before you do a heavy attack. Maybe if you want that, or just go straight for a heavy. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where there's so much damage firing off at Archangel at certain points. It's always hard to tell exactly what is the best one to do. But if you want to throw in a cheeky medium there, get a little bit more power just at the start of the neurotoxin stun, might not necessarily be the worst option. But if there's like a double stun lined up or double neurotoxin lined up, I don't know, might be a good idea to go for that. Right, let's use a few health potions here. Just get Archangel up a little bit more, because I imagine this Venompool is going to hit relatively hard. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, we want to line it up because this Venompool has unblockable below 25%, so that when he's getting there, we're ready with the stacks of neurotoxins, so we don't need to worry about that too much. But yeah, as you can see, a little bit sloppy on the parries at the start of that fight. Threw off a heavy, 5 stacks of bleed, right into unstoppable. Oh my goodness. Fun and interactive, but let's get 3 stacks of neurotoxin so we can shut off all of that. There's incredibly fun and interactive mechanics there. Okay, wonderful. We can go special 2 straight into heavy attack here. There we go. Let's get that off as well. Okay, because we got quite a lot of stacks of bleed here. We're going to fire this off. Heavy attack conversion, get that neurotoxin going. 1 more heavy attack, just to get some more neurotoxin, ideally before that final phase. Oh, right. Let's keep going, lads. Probably should have used the heavy attack when we could there. Oh no! Right, there we go. Okay, that was a little bit of a sloppy fight with Archangel there, ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, you get the idea. If it bleeds, if it's poisoned, it's dead. But yeah, that could have been done a little bit better. But hey, we did it. 1 shot, 77 hits, 0 hits received. So yeah, not too bad at all. But ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this video, if you weren't already aware of the power of Archangel, like, he's such a good character, man. Like, really, really ridiculous. But again, does take a little bit of practice, a little bit of... what is it? Trial and error, and also knowledge of the champions that are poison immune, bleed immune, and when you can kind of get your ins as well. So there's kind of like a nice level of complexity and depth to the character, which I quite like. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any other awesome tips about Archangel that we have missed off in today's video, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Any more information that I'm not already aware of is always greatly appreciated. But ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy today's video, feel free to smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.